Good morning, everybody, and this is teacher Stephanie. Today we're going to be working with name fractions of a whole, lesson 9.4. And we're going to be reading this first part so that we can get a good introduction into the topic. Autumn is painting a mural that has 4 equal parts. So this is the mural that Autumn is painting, and it has 4 equal parts. But she paints 3 of the parts. 1, 2, 3. What fraction of the mural has Autumn painted? A fraction can name 1 or more equal parts of a whole. You can make a fraction by putting copies of unit fractions together. The mural can be divided into 4 equal parts that are each 1/4. There are 3 parts that Autumn has painted. So we have the 4 parts of the mural, and she only painted 3 parts. And the information is telling us that a fraction can name 1 or more equal parts of a whole. And you can make a fraction by putting copies. So these are the copies of unit fractions together. The numerator names the number of equal parts that are being counted. The denominator names the total parts or the total number of equal parts. So the number that we see on top is called the numerator, and the number we see below is called the denominator. The numerator is the number of equal parts painted. The denominator is the number of parts in all. So we have 3 and 4. So the word name for this would be 3/4. And we will write it like this. The 3 will go on top and the 4 will go below. The fraction of the mural that Autumn has painted is 3/4. And Mr. Robot here is telling us the entire mural is the whole. It is equal parts to 4/4 or 1. Or 4/4. So now that we have introduced this, I'm going to be explaining a few of these exercises so that later on a day you can work on them by yourselves. So we have here, name fractions of a whole. So like I said, the number on top is called the numerator and the number below is called the denominator. So the word name would be 3/4 because we are painting 3 parts of the whole mural. Okay, so it would be 3 parts out of 4 parts in total. How many unit fractions make up each fraction? So now we're going to be answering these 2 exercises. So, the question again says, how many unit fractions make up each fraction? So we just have to count the unit fractions that are colored. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 unit fractions that make up each fraction. So we write 5 here. Notice that it would be the same number that we have as the numerator. On example number 2, we have 2 unit fractions that make up each fraction. So this would be our answer. And this corresponds to this part of the exercises. Now, let's go to part 2. Name the unit fraction and how many copies you need to make each fraction. So first, we're gonna name the unit fraction. So for every unit fraction for 2/4, we have 1/4. This would be our unit fraction. And how many copies would I need to make each fraction? I would need 2. The same amount as the numerator. These 2 are our answers. On example 2, 4/6 or 4/6. So we have the following. how many unit fractions do we need? We would need 1/6, 1/6. And how many copies of them would we need? We would need 4 to make each fraction, the same amount as the numerator. Okay, so this corresponds to this part. And part 3 says, write each as a fraction. So we have 2/6. So we're going to be writing this in fractions. 2 is going to be our numerator over 6. I like to put my answers in boxes. It makes it a lot simpler. Part 4, write the word name for each fraction. So we have the word name. So how would we write this? We have 7/8. How would we say that? Okay, you're right. 7/8. We always add an S to the name of the number that is in the denominator. Okay, notice 6/6. Okay, 8/8. And now let's go to this part where it says, complete the fraction that represents the shaded part, then write the word name. So let's look at this example, which is fairly easy. We have how many shaded parts? We have 2 shaded parts and we have 3 parts in total. So this fraction would be 2/3, or we could call it 2/3. Okay, 2/3. The same would be like this on this one. We have how many shaded parts? We have 1, 2, 3. So the number of shaded parts that we have goes on top on the numerator. And we have 6 total parts. You see it here, the denominator. This number corresponds to the number of parts in total. So this would be 4/6 with an S at the end, 4/6. Okay, and the same process would be done for this exercise and all of the rest. So your task for today is to practice what we have learned today, okay? Okay, so I am going to be attaching photos through Google Classroom so that you can do the exercises. These exercises are not worth for points. They are part of the daily classroom work that we do. So please keep that in mind, but you should be responsible and do them even though they're not worth for points, because it is how you're going to be practicing for this day. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to write me a message through Google Classroom or an email. And have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.